Hey guys, this is the Ecron Writer here. Welcome you to the final lap of the power of the Falcon. Last time, Rick was able to reunite the solid and the liquid orbs that he got from Holidas and Lixa, and the mobile task force has actually followed them to Planet Giant. And meanwhile, Don Genie is anticipating the awakening of Plassein, while the other giants clash against each other. The fate of giants as well as the universe rests in their hands. Will Rick be successful? Well, let's find out. Alright, final lap. With Plassein's help distracting the other deities, Tinsel, Jack, and Rick approached the last temple, the home of Holidas. As they'd expected, it was a crag, though they had to go underground for the final sphere. Unlike Astro's turf, this one actually led beneath the surface. Jack volunteered to stay in guard while the couple ventured in. It was good for them since they had extra means to protect themselves from harsh environments. His from Falcon, and hers from Lily's download. They parked their machines and climbed out of the cockpit into a subterranean chamber that almost reminded them of Norfair, which actually I played in the video prior. Their outfits were resistant and there was just enough lighting for their search. They looked all over for the sphere and the heat was intense, but it was nowhere to be found. There weren't any pedestals nor any hidden perches within the walls, as Tinsel wasn't able to predict. Just some crumbling rocks. Rick even checked the patches of disturbed burnt soil. Still nothing. Their flashlight shone down a steep hill which was getting darker upon the descent. Are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? Rick wasted no time as he slid down without a moment's pause. Thankfully, the trek down wasn't so irritating because of their interplanetary outfits. The bounty hunter landed gently, as did his partner. The atmosphere became very thick and pools of magma were boiling just beneath a couple feet. There was a straightaway, and they instantly figured this was the heart of the stone fortress and where the old orb laid. Tinsel stuck close to Rick, then a magma-crusted creature dropped from the ceiling. It was around 20 feet tall, its tail was just as long. Its head was small and curved, and it had a large white abdomen. It was definitely not friendly as it sneered and roared with its glowing red eyes. Its large... dang errors. Its large flippers kept flopping until it released a volley of flame. The duo dodged it, and they both aimed their Glocks toward the lizard-like monstrosity. She used her ice to stun it, while Rick shot lasers toward its head. The assault caused the creature to back away. However, he was very resilient. They had to be careful since there was nowhere else to go but forward, since the path was so narrow. They tried their best to keep avoiding the fiery onslaughts and shooting whenever there was an opening. Sometimes they had to stop, drop, and roll if they were being fried like wild turkeys. The duo couldn't hold their own for so long as its attacks were growing stronger with the crater's smoldering atmosphere. Its body was nearly indestructible considered it was made from below the giant's crust. Annoyed, the creature swiped Rick aside like a fly. Tinsel was alarmed and kept rapidly shooting the monster. It was barely enough since they were nearing the precipice ahead. In addition, it was using its arms as a means of defense. If only they could keep him busy longer. Meanwhile, as Rick was stunned, he saw some steam emit from the ground. He couldn't smell it, yet his nose was twitching a little, and he felt some heat rising toward him. He hesitantly grabbed some of the disturbed rocks and hurled them toward the abomination. They shattered upon its thick skin, yet the gas caused it to cough. He realized it was also weak against toxic fumes. He kept up the strategy until the creature backed off into a lighter surface. From its weight, the ground collapsed beneath him. He lost his footing, then dropped into the magma. It thrashed and shook to keep itself from sinking, yet the magma was eating its skin until bones were shown. It roared in protest until it finally met its maker. By the time it was defeated, a ball of fire shot up. That caused Tinsel to startle and lose her balance. Fortunately, Rick reached and grabbed her. They both calmed themselves, and they momentarily saw something glowing behind them. The bright red light was made out to be the last sphere. and he figured it was the guard's main source of energy. Thankfully, it didn't burn his hands when he held it. Ah! Out of ammo! Her Glock was completely used up. There was a shake and the roof rained down some debris. A few stalactites fell from the ceiling and Rick grabbed Tinsel's hand. This place is starting to collapse! Outside, Jack got his hands full. The astro robin was distracting Holiday as it ran over its rocky feet. He was giving Plassein some leverage until Rick and Tinsel got back from the trial inside. Unfortunately, because it wasn't light and nimble, Jack was easily caught by his humongous hand. The machine was like a tiny model car compared to the golem's size. Luckily, he was saved by the constant battles from the other deities. The robin landed on top of Plassein before it crashed to the hard ground. They helplessly watched as Lix and Gastro ganged up on him. Holiday took so much abuse from the other deities. Lixa used its hydro body to weaken it, while Gastro made it inhale the toxic gas and fill up its stomach. Crikey! That Titan is taking quite a beating! Let it go, Jack. We must wait for Rick and Tinsel. The mighty Holiday fell, crushing most of the temple on impact. Then it was one-on-one. From the thick smoke there was a spark. The Comet and the Falcon emerged. Damn, does it feel good to be out of there! Wheeler, Tinsel, you made it! That was a close call, Jack. The Titans closed in on them and she used her jets to stun them. The Robin was near her. The Falcon was beside Plassein. Holiday's orb? Got it! Rick showed it from his pocket. At times the crafts were caught in the crossfire and Plassein took the defensive. He unleashed another meteor shower to stun them for a while, until they were destroying each other again. When it was clear, the heroes emerged victorious as the shrine was a few miles from the archipelago. We're almost there! We'll see, Ricky. Not if I can beat the legendary Captain Falcon. If that's a challenge, Jack, then I accept it. Not if I have anything to say about it. If that's a challenge, Jack, then I accept it. Not if I have anything to say about it. Unbeknownst to them, during their friendly race, Don Genie released a fatal contraption. It was the same one that was injuring both Lixa and Gastro. Plassein was electrocuted by the humongous flytrap with the blue falcon. Jack and Tinsel only watched in horror as the task force just a mile away. Rick couldn't use the booster fire since sparks were flying all around him. He was helpless inside his machine until it unexpectedly raised its hood. Soon his own body was caught in the current. He fell out and the bolts kept licking him. He could barely move as he and Plassein were suffering from the endless agonizing pain. Then he was warming up until he recalled Falcon using a signature move when he forced Deathborn into the Dark Star reactor. His eyes shut open and his fist clenched very tight, and instead of being a fiery bird of prey, it turned out to be a dragon made of electricity. That left a large hole inside, causing Genie to drop the controls in awe. He's so strong! He just made enough strength and let the rage loose as his body glowed a bright orange. He screamed as his vessel shot out a volley of energy toward Lixa and Gastro, as well as a portion of Don's fortress, using his last reactor might and shattering the contraption. His body was in so much brutal agony that it made itself shut down while simultaneously absorbing the lethal energy. Frick! Everyone cried for him as they saw him and Plassein plummet. He dropped to the cockpit of the Blue Falcon and remained very still. They were so far away that they didn't notice Plassein's body dissolve into pyroflies after he fell to the ground. Silver Comet and the Astro Robin rushed to the scene. Tinsel received a shock when she touched him, though Jack was lucky since he was wearing the red gloves. He carried him to the Robin, and the weather suddenly got violent. The wind began to pick up, and Tinsel looked over a rip in the ground. It was so deep that she couldn't see nor make out Plassein's fallen body. Where's the plasma deity? He can't be. Is he? An enormous tornado was formed and the inhabitants just lost it. Jack and Tinsel just saw it themselves. Jack, we gotta get out of here! Don't have to tell me twice. He immediately burned up the engines and a grappling hook shot out of its trunk. Latched onto the Falcon's cuff on its elongated hood. With some elbow grease, he was able to pull it. They both raced back to the main shrine. The tractor beam was offline, but the task force was relieved they all made it. They were alarmed when they saw Rick. I've never seen him look this bad since the day we got him out of cold sleep. Everyone get back! His son was ready. Rodney! The shock left him in cardiac arrest. His body shut down from the high voltage. You know what to do. He was as white as a sheet, and even Robert received a shock as he made contact. Rodney, get 2 pairs of rubber gloves and a chest compressor. Hurry now! He immediately put on rubber gloves, and he was the one who restarted his heart. Through the darkness, Rick somehow heard the screams of the inhabitants of the planet, as everything around them was being demolished by the numerous storms as well as the eruptions from beneath the broken earth. Some of it even fell into the abyss, making it light up with flames. Tectonic plates were also moving at a horrifying rate. The planet truly was falling apart, and he had nowhere else to go. After several compressions, Rick's heart finally let some blood through, warming his chest. He was barely breathing and moving his head. Tinsel rushed to his side. Rick? Oh, Rick! He was able to slowly move his hand to hers, as if her tears were an ounce of strength. Tinsel. Finish it. You must do it. What? I can't make it. Too weak. It's up to you now. Rick, you shouldn't talk. No. Listen. She must do this. Take all of this and Plassein spheres. Rick, you need to rest. She was frightened by the ferocity, but a certain someone was able to help her regain her senses. That's your final mission, Tinsel. You must accomplish this. It was Jody. Wheeler knows you're the only one who can. Restore balance to the planet and reunite the 4 orbs of Materia. Hurry up, stay alive, and place them inside the shrine. That's an order. Any objections? Suddenly she felt a sensation whenever Rick was holding the sacred spheres. They warmed within her hands. With that, she declared, No, there are no objections. I will finish Rick's mission. She ran up as fast as she could, nearly losing her footing. Lucy and Lily were close behind, and they were able to catch her. When she finally placed the spheres in their correct slots, they glowed. Their essences became one with the others as they shot through the sky like the aurora borealis. Hard to believe the duties of the Chosen One can pass on the mantle to someone else willingly without dying. Tinsel stated that she has a special bond with Rick. They both loved each other. She had Haruka's engagement ring to prove it. The song! You gotta play it, Lily! Of course. This is the only one to make things right. Still, I wish there was someone who'd perform it with me. Ahem. It almost matched his outfit, the guitar, albeit had a darker shade of blue despite the crazy bolt designs. My time to shine. I used to be a part of a band, don't you know? Thanks, Jack. Galaxy Forces Cadet blew into the flute the same subtle note she played during the last night's ceremony. During the number, Regeneration, Jack eventually strummed his own instrument. It was the same warm-up song he learned when he was just a kid. He never felt more exhilarated as he saw this as his very own stage. In the darkness, it was the same thing Rick heard. Despite the paralysis, it was soothing to him as he was resting in a comfortable bed somewhere in the galaxy runner. Balance was restored, and the storms gradually dissipated. The ground momentarily stopped quaking and erupting. The oceans were calmer. This giant was healing. All three terrestrial deities were revived during the celebration. Their hearts warmed, never wanting to fight. Plassein never rose up. Everyone didn't notice Jody and EAD leave on their vehicles and apprehend Don. Rick barely opened his eyes and saw a gorgeous sunset through a large window. His body was still powerless from the onslaught. When the song ended, he barely noticed Tinsel laying over him. Did I do it? Did I make a difference? Yes, you did. We all did. He said his body was so hard to move. She wondered how he was able to get the plasma orb. He wasn't sure, but he felt it course through his veins when he busted out of the shocking trap. It was also emitting energy in his other pocket by the time he woke up. She volunteered to stay by his side, but due to the shocks to his body left, the steward said she should let him be. Rick regained some of his strength late at night, but he was still very weak. From his blurry vision, he saw a pair of mechanical crutches leaning against a wall a foot away. He grabbed them, thinking he had no vitality in his legs. They lit up as he put them beneath him. He tested the switches and knobs until eventually he knew how to maneuver them in the direction he needed to go. He snuck out onto the ramp while Clank noticed from the surveillance. "Jody! Somebody left the hangar! It's Rick!" She, the docks, Jack, and Tinsel were startled. He made it to the main shrine and looked out toward the magnificent open ocean between the three towering islands, mourning for the fallen deity. He noticed a huge shadow of a bird fly over him, but he dismissed it as nothing. Then it landed as it stepped closer. Rick immediately took out his blaster and aimed it at Gastro, dropping his clutches. "You stay away from me! You clashing titans have caused enough pain and suffering! If you make a move, I'll blast your brains out! Stand down, Chosen One!" Deity of liquid emerged from the sea. Solid golem marched up behind the gas titan. "We're not there to fight you, Rick. We're only here to show our gratitude." The gas one lifted the crutches to him, allowing him to use them as he withdrew his gun. "Thanks, Gastro. We should be the ones thanking you." They handed him a silvery ring, showing this was all that's left of Plassein's. "You saved the world from its own destruction. You wouldn't have wanted it any other way." "No. Take it somewhere no one else can find it. Not even me. We wanted to give you something. It was an orb. This was different as it was forged from a part of their essence. By the time Rick obtained it, it restored his strength as his body warmed up. I feel stronger." The energy dissipated. He dropped the crutches and faced the Titans with a smile. "Thanks, everyone. I will keep this with me. Always. We are all forever in your debt." They bowed and Rick followed as he bent a knee. When he rose, he suggested to rest at their respective shrines. He watched them leave, and then he said silently, "Thanks for you guys watching out for me, and for this." He said the orb. "Looks like you're better already." Stuart led the task force and Lily to him. Everyone was surprised he no longer needed the crutches and was standing tall. Docs found something unusual in his molecular makeup. While he was sleeping, they examined his body and saw traces of the high voltage from some sparks. High-flying medico never saw anything like it. He gave him a pair of his red gloves which were enhanced with rubber. He also handed him some arches in his shoes as well. Compliments from him and Rodney. Stewart described them as cushions for his electrical discharges. Rodney said the kinetic energy needed some place for them to be released. That way, it'll help avoid painful shocks in contact. "Rick, I'm alright. No need to worry. You can touch me as much as you want. Doctor gave me those rubber arches in my gloves to help absorb the misfiring from my body. You won't be shocked as long as I wear them. Stuart assured both Rick and Tinsel they still have 5 days left if they want to stay in Giant. She went over and hugged him tightly as they were finally reunited in their arms. Mission was accomplished, just Giant was in balance. Don Genie was finally taken in, albeit had severe wounds he may not recover from. He'll be like crippled for life and perhaps impaired. Oh, I'm pretty sure the shocks will go away eventually. He won't need him as much. Despite the success of his 51st bounty, Rick and Tinsel continued to mourn over Plassein's sacrifice. Days went by fast. When it was the end of the week, he summoned the Falcon flyer to carry the couple home to Earth. The natives never minded the entry nor exit. From then on, they knew that technology could be beneficial for them, and the Elder couldn't wait for the next opportunity for advancement, even if it's for an F-Zero track, or if they decided they should return. They're always welcome. What will you do now? We will return to our planet. Our friends are waiting. I see. You are lucky to have such friends, helping you save this planet from its own self-destruction. I will look forward to the day we shall meet again. The bounty hunter and huntress bid the people a giant farewell, as did the inhabitants and also the 3 deities as the Falcon flare rose through the exosphere. Holidus was having a little draconian chick safely in his palm. Victory lap. At the fortress in Port Town, Rick and Tinsel had some private time to pay their respects, and he also wanted to show her something special. What many people may not know about Rick was he's also a martial artist, rather than just a former detective. It was no wonder since he knew how to defend himself well. I always like the way that Rick fights. Always. It was when he put 2 and 2 together. After he was severely electrocuted by Don Genie's flytrap with Plassein, he felt the shock as well as his thermal energy from deep within his core. It was the same sensation he had when he burst out of the tank Black Shadow imprisoned him in. Then, as he'd have flashback of the Falcon punch, he unleashed all his energy at it, only it was a dragon than a bird. At first, everyone was prone to a static shock while touching him, until he wore the gloves and arches. Even Rick himself was shocked both emotionally and physically, as it left him paralyzed temporarily while he decided to train himself with those new enhancements. He then decided to practice with Goro at Kriton about a week ago, on how to harness and channel out the electricity more properly without sustaining damage. Samurai was unsettled when he found out Rick had similar abilities to his better rival Falcon, but he was willing and honored to teach him anyway. Through rigorous work and meditation, he did just that, and by golly, Rick finally was able to show Tinsel what he could really do. Aside from the Dragon Punch, which he recalled using to escape the fatal gizmo, he could also use a sweeping kick, which had the same effect on the ground. In addition, he made an uppercut, which he called the Dragon Knuckle. When he jumped and released, he pulled the pole above him. There was an explosion of electricity coming from his hands. He called that the Dragon Kiss. She recorded the footage which she saved to show their friends later. She even slowed and froze the data at times to show Rick Sparks had created the illusion of a serpent in each of his moves. Since then, those were Rick's ultimate weapons aside from the 2 reactor mites. Needless to say, everyone was impressed, those that were both in and out of the task force. Rick believed it was a sign that he had rightfully chosen to follow Captain Falcon's legacy as a hero, bounty hunter, and F-Zero champion. There were no regrets from this moment forward, as he now realized that he has bestowed both with the legend and the power of the Falcon. Hope you all enjoyed this short story as much as I did writing it. Seriously, there really needs to be more of a story for Rick as the new bounty hunter replacing Captain Falcon. Though I didn't see it as some bland title, just a way to honor him. Alright, the fight between the magma-crusted creature was inspired by Super Metroid and Norfair, blah blah blah. Finale was regeneration from X, although this one's more subtle than the original. I should like to thank one of my collaborators, Revive Racer, for the suggestion. I had this idea of Rick's new ability, the Electric Dragon, from the Nintendo Wiki, particularly from that kid with the afro who described how my favorite F-Zero pilot would fight in the next Smash Bros. If possible. I'd always wished the day would come. This would be my theory on obtaining Dragon Punch as well as his other shocking skills. Again, it's kind of like Metroid with Samus absorbs multiple life forms' DNA, such as the hatchling, the parasites, and the Phazon. I was surprised when I found out that Rick was also a martial artist, and he's Ryu's F-Zero counterpart. Again, why wasn't he suitable for Smash, and yet he is? Anyway, this F-Zero project is finished. Much like the series itself, who knows what the distant future would bring. Long live this phenomenal series. Alright. Power of the Falcon is finally done. So, not sure what my next project would be, but I hope the series will live on. Take care, F-Zero fans, and keep the faith.